The folks over at the University Theater Department are producing Sex, Love, and Pistols. This is a collection of individual plays and vignettes, I guess, and we'll talk to the two student directors now. So this is all student produced right now. Of course, Joyce Torres and Stephen Torres. I've seen you guys in other plays before.
Yes.
You're both extremely talented.
Thank you.
And that was, of course, is performing, so now you're directing.
Yeah, we're on the other side of the table.
Yeah, so let's get into that before we talk about like this series of plays and everything. How is it to be, you know, on the other side? And are you doing like directing and performing at the same time?
No, actually, this time we all decided I think it's safe to just direct. But going from the acting world to the directing world, they're both the same but different. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's the same creative process, but you go from doing one character and creating, and then as a director, you're creating an entire show. And it's a lot of pressure, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but it's different. But they're both fun.
Well, Kenneth Branagh did the same thing with Hamlet, and he was a little bit, you know, he took it in a different direction. But
it's hard.
But that's your prerogative if you're the director. You know, it's your vision that drives it. So how do you see that, Steve? Like, how are you? Is the play basically going the way that you envision it, and you know, are you satisfied with that?
It is. I am super satisfied. I started to change it at one point, but then I decided to go back after getting a few notes from our boss. And so
Michelle.
I was like, it went back to my original vision. I was like, oh, thank you. It's so awesome. But yes, it's going great, and I'm like so excited for it.
So this is a series, like I said, is vignettes the right word to say? So it's a lot of little mini plays, and are they in any way like intertwined? Is it a story that continues through the plays, or?
It's a series of 6 one-acts. They're different scenes, and some range from shorter to longer, from 10 to about 20 minutes a piece. And the cohesive theme is sex, love, and pistols. And in one way or another, they kind of relate back to the title.
And by that merit, you're going to draw a huge crowd, because anything with sex and or love and or pistols.
Yeah, what's really funny is we wanted to choose plays that really got people thinking. So when choosing a title with something like Sex, Love, and Pistols, immediately we hope people are thinking about the title. But we want people to know that when they come, not to expect sex, love, and pistols, and there's more depth and meaning and color and richness to what we're doing. It's not just, you know, it is an advertisement ploy, but we have depth, we promise.
Are they're still doing that at UOG? I remember they put up like a, you know, posters. It's like, oh, there's a big romance scene.
Yeah.
And now that we got your attention, sign up for, you know, Political Science 101.
They still do it, yeah.
That's a classic way of getting people to take a class. Okay, so what we learned here in, you know, news media is, you know, regardless of what you learn in college, you have to learn how to write very, very short, and brevity, you know, is supposed to be your friend, and you shoot for that. Because these are 6 one-act plays, and you said about like 10 to 15 minutes, more or less, how hard is it to actually like express a thought or, you know, tell a complete story in that such an abbreviated time frame?
It all depends on the script that we are given or that we choose ourselves. And for the most part, the playwrights themselves make it so compact and so it's swift to the point, you know, so it's not like Mother Courage where you'll expand that. It's all quickly, so it's...
Do you find yourselves as directors wishing there was more time, or kind of like, you know, extrapolating and letting the characters, you know, develop a little bit more, letting the dialogue breathe? Or?
Yeah, I think that's one of the most difficult things, especially when choosing a one-act, because it has to be so compact and so to the point, but you still want them to have character and have depth. And when we chose our plays, I feel like we all chose plays that gave characters. They're not just these throwaway people, and they are more than what they seem. There's 2 sides to every story, and that's kind of our tagline as well. And each character is kind of, we present you one way of them, and then by the end of the play, they're completely different. And each of our plays has it.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, you're both veteran actors of the stage here on Guam and UOG. I mean, you're both extremely talented, like I said. I mean, you always put on, you know, amazing productions.
Thank you.
How much of your own experience in being a performer do you now take to the, you know, as a director? And are there any like particular skills that you learned when you were, you know, acting out a particular scene that you really think that makes you an effective director?
Well, every tool that we've learned in our acting classes, we've been able to apply. I personally would teach my actors these tools like substitutions, moment before, anything that was relevant to the realistic style that I was approaching it with. I've taught them, and it works so well with them. So it's really great.
Now, Joyce, how about you? Because you've done so many things. You know, you've done some musicals. You know,
I've done musicals,
you've dabbled in comedy, and now, of course, you're doing TV commercials, which is an art form into itself.
Yes, it's a completely different art form. For me, going into it, it's It's different, but I feel like I learned a lot more about acting by directing. And because as directors, we had to design our lights, our sets, our makeup, our costumes. So now I have this deeper appreciation of the whole production. So now I feel like if I go back to that acting world, I'm gonna be a lot more, I'm gonna pay attention to a lot more of those things and appreciate them more.
All right, well, real quick, speaking of we're running out of time, we are right now. See, again, brevity. So tell people where and when they can see the play.
You can see the play at the University of Guam Theater on November 14th to the 16th, the 21st to the 23rd, 6:30, the doors open, 7 o'clock, curtains go up.
All right.
Yes.
And what can they expect to see in one sentence, Steve?
A whole lot of something.
I like that.
A whole lot of something.
We didn't nail it down to any particular genre. Very, very, very effective. You're both off to outstanding careers as directors.
you.
All right, so thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
All right, and stay tuned because Fiesta Friday continues right after this. Stay tuned, my friends. You are watching KUAN.